Andy, for as much as we talked about it last year when there was a disconnect on third and long and longer, we're going to talk about it when you've made one of the corrections of the year. I wanted to make sure I had the dime numbers right this week, but to me, I had it at 3 of 8 on passes and 3 runs for like 3 or 4 yards. And I realized a couple of those completions were late. The one conversion was 14 on a right out on left hash pass, which I think you'll give up kind of thing. I don't want to say surprised. What's your assessment of your unit's the results so far? Because the splits are absurd compared to what you were doing a year ago.
Well, I mean, there's been some improvement there, and that's why we worked, with the time we had in the off season, we spent on working on that package and using the personnel we have. And so obviously there's areas we got to continue to grow with it. We didn't execute everything, obviously, great out of it, and we'll continue to grow. The guys are excited about it. They have fun playing it. And so we'll continue to grow and keep sharpening the techniques and the structure of it. And it's been good to us. So we'll keep working with it.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Your assessment of tackling through 2 games this season, and I guess just what stood out defensively for you against Washington State.
Yeah, obviously we got to improve the tackling starting early, and that was an objective going into the game with that type of offense being a spread offense and really quick and shifty players on the perimeter. We knew that was going to be a huge challenge for us, and just obviously we've got to do a better job of planning how we're going to do it in organized drills, and obviously we've got to do a better job of emphasizing it in team periods and how we're getting our finishes on every single play. And making sure that we understand that, Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when we're getting our fits in terms of tackling. And needless to say, everybody in the country, didn't have a lot of opportunities to practice tackling in the offseason. So we've got to make that ground up right now, and we will. The guys are excited to do that.
Brian Thorburn, register guard.
Andy, I think Noah said the other night that he missed a tackle early, and then Isaac told him just to calm down and take a deep breath. Just how do you approach a player that's that talented but still this young and obviously is going to play a big role for you?
There's no question. We got a few of those guys. We got a lot of guys, and whether they're true freshmen or true sophomores out there playing. And so that's where the growth of this whole process, we've got to continue on full speed ahead. And we're going into the 3rd game here, and every single day counts for our growth as individuals, as people, how we learn, our focus in learning. And then obviously the fundamentals on the football field and how we're executing, playing with great eye control and tackling, right? So in open space or confined space, you have to do a great job with your target and making sure that your eyes are tracking a hip and we're working to take the motors. Obviously, we've got to lower our strike zone when we're tackling. We've had a few instances where we'll have guys missing games for tackling too high. And so obviously that would be an emphasis as well in tackling and making sure that our eye control is not, our eye control is where it should be in terms of the target being on the hip and working to take the motors of the ball carrier.
Eric Skilpel, 247 Sports.
You guys are one of the best teams nationally in forcing turnovers last year.
Mm-hmm.
2 games in, you haven't done that yet. Can you explain that? Is that just the ball's not going your way, or can you guys be a little bit more aggressive in forcing some of those?
Well, it's just year to year, it happens that way. Some years, and when they come in bunches, and they'll come in bunches, they will. And it starts with number one, fundamentally and technically. So we're talking about tackling, good tackling, will cause takeaways. And there were a few instances the other night where we were close to punching some balls out when we were tackling, but putting yourself in position, your body control, having 2 feet underneath your hips when you're tackling and making sure that we're accelerating through those tackles. Our change of direction and making sure that our movements are on point in coverage so that we can break on the ball. All those things come into play when it comes to that stuff. So just sharpening up our fundamentals in terms of our movements and our eye control to put ourselves in position. And obviously it always starts with attacking the quarterback.
AJ Jacobs and Rivals.
Coach, watching UCLA on Sunday, it looks like they have tons of offensive weapons all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think from them? What do you have to do to contain those guys?
There's no question, and they use them in different ways. And and they use the tempo Sunday as well. And so we're going to get a bunch of formations that we're going to have to line up to. We're going to have to again operate in the pre-snap. with urgency, and we got to operate together. We got to play with great eye control once we lock into our keys. And, from there, it's about playing with great fundamentals and playing with urgency to win our one-on-one battles and everyone doing their job. We did a much better job of that in the second half this past week, and we want to pick up and lead on this week with that.
James Cropia.
Andy, wanted to just get your assessment of Jamal's play so far. I know he's one of the defensive players of the week for you guys this past week, but seemed to do well in coverage. Even a couple of the completions were just either high percentage or really low percentage and just happening to be complete. But your impressions of him since he plays arguably the most critical position for you guys?
There's no question, James. I mean, he's coming along, and mind you, he's a sophomore. He's a young player that is learning and growing, and his care factor's through the roof. His, the way his approach to practice every morning, he's ready to go. He's focused on the task at hand and what he needs to do to grow forward, and that's all we can ask for, and that's all we're asking from all the guys on this team, everybody involved in the program. And so we're excited about the direction he's going, and we're excited to see where he keeps growing.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Saw a lot of Bennett Williams last week, and you're going to have to be using more safeties this week because of Nick Pickett's first half. Just Bennett's play this season so far, what's been your impressions?
Yeah, Bennett's done an awesome job. And with limited practice time, we're really excited because he was on the shelf for a little while in camp. And so for him to be able to do what he did here in the last couple of weeks, and especially in this last game, stepping up and, jumping in there and getting a lot of reps and doing a good job. Obviously a lot of learning situations for him as well, but he flashed. He made some really good plays on the field. He had a really good tackle. And so there's a lot to grow from.
Julian Minenstone, KZI.
I know Noah was a highly touted recruit, but did you expect this kind of impact right away, the way he's doing it?
He did get here in January, and through the process of recruiting him and stuff, you can tell his football intelligence was very, very high. And usually two things, young guys got to be mature to be able to handle the process of being in college and playing college football, and then they got to be talented, and their football IQ has to be on point, and Noah has those things, as well as we have a few others too that are young players, and they're doing a very good job as well. So we're excited about where Noah's at right now, and we're just before we came in here we were talking, and he's excited to keep growing too. He knows there's a lot of improvement to continue to make.
Jerry Thompson, Ducks Illustrated.
Yeah, Coach, in terms of sacks, is there a concern about that, or is things you can do to improve, or looking at the film, or is it just the offenses, how they're getting the ball away quickly, or what?
A little bit of both. Yes, there's a little bit of both. And again, we got to focus on the continued development and attacking, keeping things simple, not overthinking it, attacking our leverage points in the pocket, winning our one-on-ones in front of us, making sure that our eyes aren't in the backfield on the quarterback, and making sure that our full focus is on the man in front of us and winning those one-on-ones in front of us. The ball is getting out, which is going to happen a lot too. But we can't get frustrated with that by any means. We can never get frustrated with it. We just got to stay the course and keep working, keep attacking.
Eric Skopel, 247 Sports.
You gave us impressions about Garone's targeting last week. Can you just kind of maybe give what you saw in Nick's? And then if Steve's not able to go, who are some of the candidates to fill in on the boundary?
Yeah, so again, we got to do a great job with our eye control. And that always starts with the tracking portion and tackling and making sure that we're tracking hips. We've got to do a better job making sure we're emphasizing that in practice, and so that we're lowering the target zone of which we're striking. We cannot strike obviously that high, and so we intend to make an emphasis and show clips of exactly what it's supposed to look like, put them in situations in practice, controlled settings where we can further improve that. And then obviously that's got to carry over into the team reps in practice. And then so in the situation in the boundary there, Hap's going to have to step up again. We have other guys as well that have done a good job. In the last couple of weeks, we've had to move around a lot of safeties, at practice, and a bunch of guys have got reps. JJ Greenfield's got reps, maybe not a lot in the games, but a lot of those guys back there that don't show up on game day have got a lot of practice reps.
James.
KT talked about the goal being to grade out 100%, Andy. And I know he didn't get home these 2 weeks, but you were spying this week. I'm not going to get into getting home or not. I mean, he affected the quarterback, but all his tackles come in the run game. And I mean, he blew up Lucas and still managed to make up a tackle in one of them. Your assessment of his play and becoming an every down player, because last year he doesn't make these plays in week 2 last year, but this year
there's no question about it, James. And I that's what it is becoming an every down player, and it's still a work in progress. But the thing that we were excited about for Kayvon is that he made a jump from the first week to this last week in the run game. And he had some tackle for loss situations. There are more out there that, coming back and looking at the film that we can improve on and simplify things and make those next time as well. So he made a huge jump from week 1 to week 2 in the run game. Late in the game, this past game, he had some really, really good pass rushes where he just focused on his get off and attacking on the man in front of him. And when he does that, he's an explosive player now. And so we're going to keep working to simplify things, simplify and clean up fundamentals and technique. And we hope we make another jump this week.
Last question here, Matt Preem.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. Popo's return, what does he bring to this defense for you?
Popo, we've really missed him last couple of weeks now. Obviously, we've had some depth inside in there. Guys like Christian, Keon, and Dorless have been able to step up, but Popo's a presence in the middle. And so we're going to work as diligently as we can to get Popo back in the mix and get Popo going while still keeping the other guys involved because they've done a really good job. But Popo provides a presence as a player and as a leader. And so we're looking forward to getting him back, and we're very excited about that.
Thank you, Coach Avalos. Appreciate your time. Have a good day.
Thanks.